Today, we're unpacking the opportunities and the pitfalls of the AI frenzy with special guest Marc Chaikin. Let's get started. I have Marc Chaikin joining me today. Marc is the founder of stock market research firm Chaikin Analytics. Chaikin offers a powerful suite of tools and investment research focused on individual investors. Please welcome Marc Chaikin. Marc, it's a real honor to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Lacey, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so Marc, let's just jump right into it here. As you know, the term AI has become ubiquitous, and while that could present investment opportunities, it can also present a little bit of danger. Big names are getting all the press, but many are trying to ride the AI wave. So what kind of should the average retail investor look for when they're researching these opportunities? Your track record speaks for itself, Marc. So what can you tell us? Maybe help us drill down on some of the companies that many people are missing.
Well, first of all, I think it's important for investors to know that AI and machine learning have been around for 40 years. What's happened in the last 3 years or 5 years is that computer power and data have sort of crashed together in a way that makes AI feasible. Whereas before you could do small projects, maybe recognize a cat or play chess. Now we're in a revolution. I'd call this an AI revolution. And I think it's the biggest investment opportunity of my career. I've been in Wall Street for 50 years, and I think this is going to be bigger than the internet, cloud computing. I think the advances we're going to see in biotech, in cybersecurity, in solving problems every which way is going to be amazing. So there's a massive opportunity, but people have to realize, the press is going to play up the obvious names. And I think one thing I would say to your viewers is that if a company hasn't been making money before they put AI in their name or in their press release or in their earnings report, that's probably a red flag. So, and the market knows that. So the poster child for the AI revolution is obviously Nvidia. And full disclosure, my wife has owned Nvidia stock since 2021, and it's really the source of a lot of joy in our household. And then there are other chip makers like AMD. So those are the obvious candidates. In order to make real money, now that the cat is out of the bag, so to speak, you have to dig deeper, as you suggested. And I'll start with an easy entry because you got to know where to look. I'll explain exactly where I think people should be looking and why, but you're familiar with exchange traded funds, ETFs, I'm sure. And there are a number of ETFs that have focus on AI. So one good tool for researching these names is to go into a system and put in the symbols. And the two symbols I look at are AIQ, which is an ETF from Global X. Now, I'm not recommending that people buy AIQ. I'm recommending that they look at what stocks are in AIQ's portfolio, because there are your candidates. There might be 200 stocks in there. And then there's another one from Wisdom Tree called WTAI, which has a smaller portfolio. And that's a great way, because I get calls all the time. Well, what AI stocks should I look at, and how do I find these stocks? So that's a great way to do it. But drilling down a little bit for the viewers, it goes way beyond chips. So there are companies that make chip manufacturing equipment, like AMAT, which reported blockbuster earnings today. There are companies that use AI in their business now and have, like ServiceNow, symbol NOW. There are companies in the cybersecurity business that have been using some form of machine learning for years. So those are obvious candidates. You can't do cybersecurity without some form of AI or machine learning under the hood. And here's the hidden, but people have figured it out, consultants. If you're a small to mid-sized company, you have to start looking at implementing AI in your business, but you don't know where to start. So what people are doing is creating a boom for consultants. So the two largest consultants are Accenture, symbol ACN, and the Gartner Group, symbol IT. And then I would also put IBM in that bucket. And by the way, IBM is my hidden candidate for AI. Why? Because Watson, their chest beating computer program, was the first AI program that was recognized and commercially available. So this just shows you that you don't have to just focus on Nvidia or AMD. There are plenty of other places to look.
Yeah, so going into that, people that are focusing on Nvidia and stuff like that, do you think that many investors lose money simply by following the herd mentality?
Well, that's interesting, Lacey, because the herd is always right until it's not.
Right.
So what do we call that? We call that momentum in the stock market. And then sometimes it bubbles up and you get what Alan Greenspan called irrational exuberance. We're seeing that now in a stock, in my opinion, that has a bullish rating in our 20-factor model that we call the Chaikin power gauge, is Supermicro computers. Now, Supermicro was sort of a sleepy computer manufacturer, redistributor, and the stock has skyrocketed. It's up 300% in about 6 months. But today it's down 17%. So there are elements of, if not a bubble, exuberance in some of these stocks. And it's not that they're not making money, it's just that they're getting bid up to incredibly high valuations.
Now, Mark, I'm seeing analysts roll out articles on this, but what is your take here? Are we entering an environment where we're kind of looking at an AI bubble?
I don't think so. I think AI is going to be the biggest investment theme of the next 20 years. Some stocks will get overinflated, like Supermicro appears to have gotten. Some stocks like Nvidia have great earnings potential, but the valuations at some point will get excessive. Right now, the valuation of Nvidia is over $1 trillion. That's amazing. That's more than the GDP of a lot of our allies in Europe and Asia. So I wouldn't call it a bubble here. When you start seeing companies change the name from John's Supermarket to AI.com, then you'll know you're in a bubble. And that happens. It happened in the crypto boom, where a delicatessen somewhere in Long Island was touted as a high interest crypto stock. So I think we're okay right now, but obviously a little pullback in some of these stocks would be very welcome because that's going to create a buying opportunity.
Now, Mark, considering the volatile nature of AI stocks, what risk management strategies would you maybe recommend? I'm kind of conservative by nature, so maybe that's more of a me question, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, that's actually a great question, Lacey, because that's the key to making money in any market, no matter whether you're buying conservative or aggressive stocks. The first thing you have to do is to spread your money amongst a number of different candidates. So diversify. But then know how much you're willing to lose in any one investment. And the way most people do that is by having a stop loss order, not on the books through your broker, but what we call a mental stop. And that can be either a fixed amount that you're willing to lose, let's say 30% in a very speculative investment, or it can trail the price of the stock up, which would be what's known as a trailing stop. So if you have success and you've picked some winners, then you're protecting your profits. But I'm going to mention two very non-intuitive ways that I do risk control. One is to avoid the losers. So how do you know a winner from a loser? Well, if a company's making money and the valuation's reasonable, potential winner. If a company's losing money and they haven't been able to really turn around, even though they're using AI, that's a red flag. So you have to have a way to eliminate the stocks that are likely to cause you big problems. And the other way, I think the best way to minimize risk is to sell strength. And I know you hear, and I believe in it, that you got to ride your winners, but there comes a point, if a stock spikes up 20% on the opening because of a very big earnings report and it's AI related, say thank you, sell half your position. And then you don't have to worry as much about the downside. So that you very rarely hear anybody say that selling on strength is one of the key risk management techniques that you can employ.
I like it. All right. Well, I have to ask because this is always interesting to hear people's perspectives, but are you in any way fearful of, let's say, the dark side of AI?
Oh, I'm very, very fearful of that. But we've already seen the deepfake photographs and the speeches that, look like they were made yesterday, but they were made 6 years ago. But putting it in perspective, what happened in the 2016 and 2020 elections? Russian hackers used the internet to try and disrupt our elections, our presidential elections. So we've had the dark side of, in that case, the internet and social media, and we've beaten it back. Is it pretty? No, it's a messy process, but people are focusing on it, and I think the benefits far outweigh the potential. Now, if the machines take over, then we got a problem,
Right.
because if the machines don't have minders, then there's a problem. But I think we're very far from that right now.
Okay, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you offer any more advice on maybe portfolio diversification in the context of AI investments, kind of to balance those potential rewards with the risks?
Absolutely. So you start with the chip makers, and it's not just Nvidia and AMD, Advanced Micro. There are other specialty chip manufacturers that are benefiting. You want to look for the companies that are using it right now, like ServiceNow. So software companies that are becoming more productive, whose offerings are more attractive to their clients. You want to look at the consultants because people are going to consultants every day to find out what they need to do to use AI in their business. And cybersecurity is an obvious area. So I think there's a number of companies that they're all using AI in their cybersecurity offerings, but any of these, if you diversify into, let's say, these 4 areas that are impacted by AI, you start to minimize the risks and maximize the potential to see big returns along the way.
Is there anything else that you're willing to share with us, Mark, around AI, or maybe anything else that you're buying or recommending right now?
Well, we recommend stocks in our monthly newsletters, and we've recommended 3 stocks in the last 6 months, 2 of them in the last 3 months, that are very, very much into the AI revolution. So one of them is Procore Technologies. They make software for the construction industry. So it's construction management software. The symbol is PCOR. They reported earnings yesterday, and they were fabulous. And they compete with a bigger gorilla, namely Autodesk. But Procore, because they're smaller and more nimble, has been able to implement AI a lot faster in their offerings than Autodesk. So that's a stock we recommended. It's up about 25% since we recommended it, but it's still on our buy list. Another stock that we recently recommended is called UiPath. The symbol is PATH. It's automation software for businesses, and they've been using AI in their offerings for a couple of years, and they're starting to do more and more with it. And IBM, we recommended IBM in an AI related event that we did in August, and I call that the hidden beneficiary of AI, both in the consulting business that they still have. They spun off one of their consulting companies, and the fact that they've got AI, they've got Watson, and they know how to use it in commercial applications. So there are 3 stocks from very small to mid-sized to quite large, but not in the mega cap space, where AI and Chaikin have sort of come together. And another stock that we really like is CrowdStrike in the cybersecurity area. Now, all of these stocks have a bullish power gauge rating, which means that they're likely to outperform the market over the next 3 to 6 months. Up until about 2 weeks ago, Adobe was in that category. And I'm watching Adobe to make sure that when it gets bullish again, we can advise our clients that Adobe has already integrated AI into their massively popular offerings like Photoshop, and they're really increasing productivity. I think that's the buzzword when you're looking at AI, productivity enhancements. Sure. Part of the reason the stock market's going up, the stock market is not just going up because Nvidia is going up. It's going up because the benefits of AI are real, and they show up on the bottom line. Profit margins go up when you need fewer people to do better work. I'm not saying, we're going to have mass firings across the board, but clearly AI is a productivity enhancing tool, and the stock market loves rising profit margins.
All right, Mark. Well, I truly enjoyed hearing your takes on the market today. I know your time is valuable, so thank you again for being willing to join us here at Market Beat. I will go ahead and get all of Mark's information linked down below in the description so that our viewers can follow along with you if they'd like. Stay tuned right here at Market Beat for more insights. Thanks again, Mark.
What a pleasure, Lacey. Thank you.